Hello.
Welcome back to the 80 Proof Podcast with Nick
Hello there.
Patience and ZiggyD Starcraft. Or ZiggyD Starcraft. Depending on how hard you want that to be.
You
So
can do
we
this.
have
You can do
finished
this.
the news topics. We're back into host topics. Conversational topics. I'm just breezing over as if I don't even hear all the mocking of me that is happening in the background. I don't even hear it. I don't even know. I don't even know that it's going. It's
We've
basically like magic rarity as opposed to rare rarity or unique. We're going with magic. Magic is the rarity at which you completely ignore all the things that drop of that rarity. Am I correct? I am correct. I'm the best. So, host topics. Nick, I'm sure that you have a host topic. Could you please elaborate with us what your host topic might be?
I don't have one.
You do too, you son of a bitch. I will fight you.
What? What is it?
I don't know. You're supposed to know.
I don't have one.
Cognitive dissonance in MMO players that really enjoy their game but can't agree that it's bad. There we go. Cognitive dissonance.
Cognitive
Sounds
dissonance.
complicated.
It does sound complicated, but I think it's less complicated than it is. So, cognitive dissonance, it is a separation between what you think is right and what is in actuality correct. So, like, say for example, I really like turn. God damn it.
Turn-based.
Turn-based strategy games. Say like Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy VII. You spent so much energy. Making sure that you had all the materia that you wanted to have it so that you did all of the perfect shit to finally beat the game. But you spent a ton of energy on essentially nothing. You, sir, who spent all of the energy on Final Fantasy VII, guess what? It's a turn-based strategy game. Nobody gives a fuck about whether or not you beat the game in Final Fantasy VII.
That's every game ever, though. To be fair.
Exactly. No. Please elaborate on that sentiment. That's every game ever. The games spent all of the energy. Say for example, Demon Souls. It's a really, really, really hard RPG. And
Yeah.
took you a lot of work to figure out how to beat. Once you beat it, no one gives a fuck that you beat fucking Demon Souls.
It's just a challenge that you can just give yourself and overcome. It's like basically everything in your whole life. Nobody really cares. You just do it because you want to, and you just have a good time. And
It's
then
about
it's just like,
experience. It's about
yeah,
experiences. Life is about experiences. No one really cares that you've gone to another country or seen some cool shit. It's just experiences. They're the most valuable things you can have. You can fill your house with fancy tables and chairs and big screen TVs, which people might care about because they think, oh, that's impressive. This guy must be doing well for himself. Or you could fill your life with experiences, and people might not care about those, but I think you've had a richer life. And that gaming is an experience-based thing, I think.
That is
yeah.
the thing.
That was
What
that was
is
really
it's
beautifully
quite
and eloquently
eloquent.
said.
I try.
Is it really valuable to you that you have beat a game that's difficult?
Yeah.
To some people, it's not particularly valuable. But have you grown as a person? Have you realized for yourself that putting forth the effort to get a goal that you want winds up getting you something that's more valuable to you? That's what games can teach you. Games can teach you that investing the energy it takes to achieve a goal, can wind up giving you something that is valuable to your soul, not just to the mind, but something that makes you realize that energy put forth into something can achieve something on the outset.
That was beautiful, man. That was beautiful.
I
That
am
was lovely.
I'm so eloquent. I know. I know I am the best at speech, but really other folks can also
Use
speak well.
speech words,
Can use the
English.
speech words.
Okay, for a second here, legit, yeah. I think the best game I've ever actually played is YouTube.
It's true.
Like, doing things on YouTube is like playing. I know I barely play games anymore apart from for YouTube.
And
And
YouTube is
I'm
the best game in the world.
YouTube is really fun. If you don't have a YouTube channel and you want to do YouTube things, do it. And you can be one of us, and you can be drunk on a podcast and tweet to Nathan.
I would agree with the YouTube thing, or just the creating something for yourself experience in
Yeah, yeah,
general.
yeah.
It's quite good.
Yeah, creating things is it's like a game, but you made it yourself. It's wonderful.
Exactly. You did some real RL leveling up.
I think you need to go ahead, take a step back, rest and meditate on what you've learned. And then maybe then you can level up in RL. It's hard work. It takes a lot of hard work and dedication, but someday you might reach level 2 in RL.
The rewards are much more subtle in real life as well.
Yeah, you don't get a whole lot of rewards in RL.
They don't flash up in the middle of your vision or
When you
anything like that.
when you level up, you just explode into like this like cloud of gold, and there's a big dong sound, and then you should, like walk into the next room, right, and you say, "Oh, I just dinged,"
Aha! Ha ha!
and then people will just look at you like you're a spastic.
Everyone's
Um,
just like GZ GZ.
Yeah.
You try and talk in local chat and you say,
Oh,
ding!
games
Ding
are-
ding ding!
games are
Level
really
3.
weird. This is making me realize how weird games are.
There's
And
no
the internet
weird
as a
for how
place.
games are. It's completely legit. Reality is video games. Anyone who disagrees is a noob.
That makes me think
Clearly.
of the series Sword Art Online. Have you guys seen or read that?
No, what is
Anime
this?
slash manga. It's basically these people get put into an MMO game, and they aren't allowed to leave it, so they're like disconnected from their bodies. Their bodies go into a coma, and they're stuck in it unless they can beat it. So for them, essentially, real life becomes a game. But also further on in the book series, there's an instance where there's people in a game that were essentially born there and have no memory or understanding of the outside world, and to them, game systems are just like normal real life. And I found that very very interesting because they can say what to them is a prayer, and they open a menu system that tells them information about like an item or something like that.
You
But
say
that's just
this
like a normal
as
real
if
life thing.
real life isn't video games. I don't understand. I don't get it. What are you talking about?
But that's a cool series. If you're into those sorts of cool ideas, you should watch that or read it. It's good.
I
Sword Art
liked
Online.
Dot Hack. You remember the original anime show Dot Hack back in the Disney?
Yeah, it's like that, but newer.
I loved that show. I adored it. The RPG back in PS2, Dot Hack / GU. That was like my favorite game back then. I still love that game. It's quite good as far as storytelling goes. Fucking, you look at. Actually, I want to make the point that Path of Exile has some really good story. I
Really don't pay attention to the story in action RPGs ever.
I didn't
skip
either
dialogue.
until such a time as I got to Act 2. And I started talking to people, and they had voice acting for all of the little explanations for everything. And
They're good voice.
yeah, I mean, voice acting isn't the end-all, be-all of storytelling, but I talked to every individual person about Yina, the character I gave a shit about. I finally had a character I gave a shit about. And I started talking to everyone about her, and I was like, wow, I suddenly give a shit. And everybody had a different perspective on this character, and all of those perspectives made sense within the context of all of the area that you were in and all of the storytelling that had happened thus far. All of that storytelling made sense, and it was impressive, and I gave a shit about that zone, at least. the next zone I got to, I didn't give a shit about. But the zone I was in at the point that I was in, I did give a shit about because there was a character I latched onto. I think that anyone who is like me that will latch onto a character that speaks to them will be impressed with Path of Exile. And also anyone that gives a shit about gameplay will also be impressed with Path of Exile. But, you know, anybody who doesn't give a shit about action RPGs, no, fuck you. Fuck you, sir. You don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about you either.
That was just such a beautiful and real moment. I think you should just end the video there.
So I was just going to talk very briefly about Marvel Heroes. Have any of you guys played Marvel Heroes or know or seen anything about Marvel Heroes before I continue?
I played the, do you remember back in the day, it was a console game called X-Men, I think it was Legends, where you could play any of the X-Men characters. But it was
action RPG style as well, wasn't it?
It was an action RPG style game, and I think that it led to this game being created.
I guess so. In the sense that like a lot of those sorts of things lead into each other. Have you seen anything about Marvel Heroes? No?
I
Nick?
have. It's an MMO and you play as Marvel heroes.
Yeah, it's an MMO action RPG. It's kind of light in both the action RPG and the MMO elements, but it has a huge roster of heroes, all of the major ones and plenty of minor ones, even like Squirrel Girl and Rocket Raccoon and stuff like that. And you know, you get all the different costumes and stuff like that. And I had a go with the closed beta the other day, and was able to experience the game. And I think so far it doesn't seem like a game that will interest many people that are really into action RPGs in the sense of you know, theory crafting builds and having like an in-depth experience. Instead of depth, they've opted to go for variety in heroes, and like all the heroes have lots of their different skills. And yeah, I don't know, it's a cool game, but I didn't find it particularly compelling at all. Like it kind of just felt like an ultimately boring experience. But it is still in beta, and some things will probably change with the heroes and everything, I guess.
I get invited to these things from time to time, and I just can't be interested. I got invited to this one in particular, and I was like, oh, dear God. Another one of these fucking things. Can you sell it to me? Can you make me interested in a game of this type?
Okay, yeah, I can do that. This game gives you the chance to play any of the Marvel heroes you've ever been keen on. So if you're a big fan of Spider-Man, you love the Iron Man movies, or you just want to smash things up as Hulk, you can do that. You can jump into any of those heroes. Now, you also have access to a huge variety of classic and modern like costumes and outfits for those heroes. So for Iron Man, you could you know, kit up in the Iron Man suit from the recent movies, or you could kit up in the the huge like actual Iron style Iron Man suit, or you could get one of the original ones from the comics, true to the lore. And then what you can do once you do that is you can go into these big open areas where there's almost hundreds of other heroes fighting together. Everyone's fighting Venom at the time, and you run up and you're Iron Man, you run up and there's Hulk's throwing a bus at Venom, and there's Spider-Man slinging web, and you guys all get to try to fight and take down Venom. That's how I'd sell it.
I've seen like 9 Iron Mans doing the fucking pew pew pew. The Iron Man pew 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 move where they shoot lasers out of each hand.
Yeah, so there's multiple of each hero. Yep.
I've seen like 9 Iron Mans shooting at the same bad guy in it was in the WTF is for. I'm not even ashamed to say that I watched WTF is from
Total Biscuit.
Total Biscuit doing that video where it's him and a 90 billion other Iron Mans, and then a couple of every other hero ever. So
well, yeah, some are bound to be more popular, but if it's a roster of 22 heroes at the moment, if you only limited one hero per person, then you would only have 22
Thing
players.
is,
The
is there
question is,
no aesthetic customization in that game?
Okay, so
No,
the
we've
thing
got-
that I
we've got
have
the
a
same
bit
point
of
here.
dissonance about is that in action RPGs, you put your new gear on and you see a progression on your character as they get more and more impressive looking. This doesn't happen in this because instead they've opted to go for this costume system where basically you pick a costume and it doesn't change too much. However, I do believe they're adding something into the game that you can change your aesthetic a bit through collecting these rare relics that you can attach to your hero, and they add certain effects or things like that to it.
This game
As
is
well.
so unappealing to me. Like I saw it back in the day, back when it was like an alpha or whatever, and it was first being announced. I saw like the little trailers in it, and nothing about it appealed to me. Like you did a really good PR speech for it, but I still don't want to play it.
Yeah. I did make an effort to do a good PR speech, but
The point
in
is, if you
practice,
want to
the
be
actual game
fucking
is-
unique, play Path of Exile, you bitches.
Oh, Nathan, you're ruining our good discussion.
Oh, my bad, my bad. If you want to be unique, go ahead and play this game, you unoriginal dickbags.
Well, if nothing else, Marvel Heroes will be free to play, and you can jump in with any of a couple of starter heroes, and that'll give you a good feel for the game. And if you do want to unlock a certain hero, it is possible to like find them as rare drops, or you can put a couple dollars into it and unlock a hero that you want to play with. And overall, it's going to be an okay sort of action RPG MMO experience, but not particularly in depth. If you're a big Marvel fan, then it's probably worth taking a look at.
To honor my brother, the man that has exited early for some reason I don't understand, his topic was he has seen some trends in real money trading and free-to-play models in all of the free-to-play games that he has played. Basically, he's played a lot of World of Tanks, in which the free-to-play model is, if you want to go ahead and fucking buy the shit ahead of time, you can go ahead and do that. And if you don't want to buy the shit ahead of time, then you can just fucking earn that shit in the games ahead of time. And my question is, after seeing that, is that the best free-to-play model to aspire to? Because that has been the thing that other free-to-play models since League of Legends have really been like, this is the epitome. Is there any better that anybody can come up with? Because it doesn't seem like this is the greatest thing in the world. I mean, it seems like it's alright. It seems like it's acceptable. But isn't there something else we can come up with? Isn't there something better? Can no one come up with better than fucking League of Legends? Because League of Legends has been around for years.
No, because they just did it right.
Yeah, League of Legends did it great, but that doesn't mean that they're the fucking best in the fucking world. There's gotta be
The thing
better.
with League of Legends is that you don't directly ever buy power. Like, even your runes and things, you actually have to play the game, so they've got a really good balance of, like, you have to play the game and, like, you can spend money. I think that in League of Legends, it takes too long to unlock champions, and it's, like, really arbitrary and weird. To, like, some champions would cost 6,300 IP, which will take you, like, 10 days, and some cost 450, which takes you, like, one game. I don't like that, but that's just like a little nitpicky thing. The general idea that they have behind the business model is it's just as good as just going and buying a game. Like, going to a shop and buying a game isn't a perfect business model either. It's just, it works, so why not do it?
It works. It works well. People will pay that money. People will play the games to spend that money. And people will not play the game and spend the real monies to get those characters.
I think regardless of the monetization system, whether it's subscription or cosmetic microtransactions or power-based microtransactions, if a game can get players significantly personally invested in a game, then it can make money through whatever method. So that could be like a long-term personal investment, or it could be a short-term personal investment. But as long as you can get people invested in a game in some way, then you can monetize that. And that's the case with any like really anything that you're trying to
Yeah.
monetize.
Realistically, any business model works for anything. It just needs to be designed well, like incorporated in the game properly. The reason League of Legends works so well is because like the game is designed around the business model and it's not intrusive because it's just a game, and the business model doesn't feel like it's tacked on, but it also doesn't feel like you have to like be part of their business model. So that's why it works so well. Uh, when it doesn't work, like a lot of games, it feels tacked on when they have like free to play or like when you have like pay to win. It
It
can
has
go
to be a
really wrong.
surprise to you. It has to just come out of nowhere for it to be like a surprise. You know what I mean?
What?
I don't know.
Okay. Say, we have a lot of problems with free-to-play models that require you to pay money to get something that all of a sudden surprises you. Like, it has to be a contrast to the normal
I have
gameplay
no
element.
idea what you're saying. I have no idea what you're trying to say.
Ah,
And
point
that's a
is-
wrap, ladies and gentlemen.
League of Legends free-to-play element. The thing that they cost money for, the thing that they charge you for, it doesn't surprise you. It's something that sort of weaves itself into the gameplay element seamlessly. You don't see it and go, oh, what the fuck is this? All of a sudden, there's something I have to pay money for.
Okay, I get what you're
That's
saying
why,
now.
that's why it's good.
It's not a Korean MMO, basically. Yeah.
The
Where you
point
get to
is-
level 45 and all of a sudden you need to buy stuff or you can't continue.
Right, you get it. The stuff that you have to pay for, the stuff that you want to pay for, isn't something that clashes with the rest of the gameplay element. That's the point at which it becomes a problematic monetization, is when you don't see it coming. When you're playing the game and all of a sudden, like, oh, now that I'm level 60, I have to pay $10 to get to level 70. That would be a problem. And you would see it. You would see it and you would say, ugh, ugh, ugh. You would go with, ugh. It would clash against your sensibilities. Because it's not sensible. It's not logical. But the logical free-to-play things were like, I have to pay some money to get these characters that I haven't decided that I want to pay for. That makes sense. That doesn't clash against your sensibilities. But you still want to pay for it because you're like, I want some other characters so that I have a more rounded roster. I have a more rounded roster so I can play competitively.
I have to head, fellas. I have to absent myself from the podcast now. Did you want to say goodbyes, or were you guys going to continue?
Yeah, we're gonna
I legit need to go to bed,
we're gonna cut
like
it
really
in
badly.
because Nick has to go to bed and it's like 4 a.m. his time. That douche. How dare he?